Well, so ladies and gentlemen, my sister wanted to talk about this issue, and it is an important issue. I want somebody that has a legal background who is unbiased to come on the show to really break down the legal aspects of what's going on here.
Because it's complicated.
It's extremely, extremely complicated.
And we truly don't know what the impact will be. My question is there really going to be an impact on, and you can, when you have the show with your expert, is there really going to be an impact on private institutions?
I think when I have that show, when I find the right lawyer, when I have that show, you should be on, because you have very strong and good questions to ask about this. So let's not focus on the legal aspect of it. Right. Let's focus on the societal aspect of it. Mm-hmm. So, and let's get to the heart. Let's get to the heart of the issue. And there's several different aspects that I just want to bounce off with you. I got a feeling that this segment is going to run long, and that's okay. Bear with me here, ladies and gentlemen. There's a couple of different ways that I want to attack this argument. I'm going to first start with Clarence Thomas.
Okay.
He was second in running and writing the dissent. Mm-hmm. And I think it's important to understand his thought process in a lot of things that he does. So in his autobiography, My Grandfather's Son, Thomas says his degree from Yale Law School, he graduated in 1974, was never taken seriously because of affirmative action. He harbors a lot of
resentment,
animus towards affirmative action, because once he got that degree and he's going to law firms for interviews, he got a lot of backlash from white people saying, well, you're obviously not this smart. You didn't get, obviously you got these grades because of affirmative action, which.
And that's a real thing that happens. That's a real thing that happens.
It is a real, it happens. It happened to me at the University of Maryland.
It's the whole point of them bringing the case to the Supreme Court.
Well, I'm going to get into that in a minute, because there's a lot of people just think there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff going on with this suit. But let's just focus on Black people and affirmative action. Mm-hmm. You went to Maryland. I went to Maryland. I remember distinctly people asking me at Maryland, so like, are you here because like on an athletic scholarship or something? Mind you, yes, I am tall compared to the average human being, right? I am tall. But at the University of Maryland, I'm the same height as, shout out to Steve Blake, who was a friend of mine at the University of Maryland. Randomly met him like the first week of school in the lunchroom, just asked him and Drew Nicholas, hey, can I sit here and eat with you guys? And found out that they played on the basketball team. Mm-hmm. They're my height. They were guards, small guards. Steve went on to have a good career in the NBA, really solid player in the NBA. But when you look at it from the standpoint of, did I play there for athletics? I'm a small guard in collegiate and NBA. So to a normal person, I'm tall. But in the grand scheme of things, if you're looking at athletes on this campus, I'm not big.
No.
You're asking that question because I'm Black. Now, white people will say, because I've brought this up before, and it was like, why don't you think they just said it because I was tall? No, because I'm normally tall. If I was 6'8", 6'9", okay, I get it. If I was as big as I am now I'm built like a football player. But back then, like I was 200 pounds soaking wet. Like I was not big, right? So I didn't look like an athlete. Maybe I did look, I always have an athletic build, but no, they didn't ask me that because I look like an athlete. They asked me that because I was Black, because it was specifically white people asking me that. And white people, specifically because just like the term woke, just like social programs like welfare, food stamps, housing support has been co-opted by rich white people of saying that this is something that minorities use. These are entitlement programs. They use those words specifically, entitlement programs for them.
Which is statistically untrue.
Statistically untrue, but it's that narrative that they use. So they use the narrative of affirmative action to basically mean quotas, which they're two completely different things. Quota is not a thing. It hasn't been a thing for a very, very long time. Quotas is, there is no token Black person in a corporation anymore, or in a school. That isn't a thing, and they equate that to affirmative action. So white people are thinking, well, if that's the case, then that spot's being taken away from me, and I'm more deserving of that. So that's the reason why they say, and mind you, I'm not saying all white people are like this, but in this particular argument, this is a white person based argument.
We're talking about political white.
Yeah. That's their point of view. Like, oh, this is a spot that should be mine is taken away, which should not be yours. And the merit of which this spot has been not given, taken by a minority. And when I mean taken, not literally taken from you, taken as they gripped it and they grabbed it from your clutches because they were so exceptional that universities had no choice but to say, no, we got to let this dude in. We got to let this female in because they're exceptionally better. Look at where they came from. But that's been the argument.
Yes, that's been the narrative. That's been painted.
That's been the narrative. What do you think about what I just said, as far as looking at it from Justice Thomas' perspective, where he was just like, see, they use this against us?
I think, honestly, and my stomach is churning as I say this, I think that's a fair point. However, that's a fair point on an individual standpoint. But what we're talking about is a political issue. And again, this is somebody taking a political issue and personalizing it. In the past, you have exceptional people of Black, Indigenous, and people of color applying to institutions of higher education and being denied on the basis of race. The only thing affirmative action says is that you are no longer able to do that.
Thank you. Say that again for the people. Say that again for the people who don't understand, who think affirmative action is based off of quotas.
Affirmative action is not saying you have to admit a certain number of Black people. What affirmative action says is you're no longer able to discriminate against students on the basis of race.
So what does striking down affirmative action now mean?
So not only does striking down affirmative action have this resulting consequence, but also you notice the concerted effort against DEI.
Yes.
That's happening in education now as well. There is not just that, but this issue with CRT, even though CRT is not taught in elementary or middle schools or high schools.
Once again, the narrative.
It's a narrative. This battle against teaching Black and African American history. It is a concerted effort on several fronts to whitewash our education system and to push certain people, particularly Black, Latin, and Indigenous folks, out of, and when I say Latin, I mean Black and Indigenous, because there are white Latinos. So, and the Ted Cruzes are not included in this argument, but
I guarantee you he uses Latino when it benefits him.
Sure, when it benefits him.
If you like that clip, go ahead and hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe to catch up on all of our latest content. Don't forget to hit the notification button when you do subscribe so you can get updated every time we release content. We release content every day, whether it's an actual show or clips from the shows. So go ahead and subscribe, like, comment. Also, don't forget our Patreon page where you can find our Talking Straight-ish and After Hours Uncensored episodes. That's patreon.com/unsolicited perspectives. But once again, thank you again for listening to Unsolicited Perspectives. I'm your host, Bruce Anthony, and I'm going to catch you next time. I'll holla.